Module 4. Crimes against children. Crimes against children. A grave violation of innocence. Crimes against children represent some of the most heinous offenses in society. These crimes encompass a range of harmful actions, including physical abuse, sexual exploitation, neglect, emotional maltreatment, and trafficking. At their core, these acts exploit the vulnerability and innocence of children who are often unable to defend themselves or fully comprehend the gravity of the harm inflicted upon them. Physical abuse involves deliberate infliction of harm through acts such as beating, shaking, or burning. This form of abuse not only causes immediate physical injuries, but also often leaves lasting psychological scars. Sexual exploitation, another grievous offense, includes acts such as child pornography, molestation, and sex trafficking. Such crimes not only rob children of their dignity and security, but also create deep-rooted emotional and psychological trauma. Neglect, though less overt, is equally damaging. It occurs when caregivers fail to provide basic needs such as food, shelter, medical care, or supervision, leaving children at risk of harm and developmental delays. Emotional maltreatment, characterized by verbal abuse, rejection, or constant criticism, erodes a child's self-esteem and can lead to long-term mental health issues. The trafficking of children for labor or sexual purposes is a growing global concern. Driven by poverty, conflict, or coercion, traffickers exploit children for profit, subjecting them to unimaginable suffering. Society must address the root causes of these crimes, such as economic disparities, social stigmas, and inadequate protective systems, to prevent their occurrence. Involuntary servitude and its impact on children. Involuntary servitude refers to a condition in which individuals are forced to work against their will under the threat of punishment or coercion. This concept, often associated with slavery, is prohibited under the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Despite its legal prohibition, involuntary servitude persists in various forms worldwide, disproportionately affecting vulnerable populations, including children. For children, involuntary servitude manifests in exploitative practices such as child labor, trafficking, and domestic servitude. These practices strip children of their fundamental rights, subjecting them to dangerous working conditions, physical abuse, and psychological trauma. In many cases, children are coerced or deceived into these situations by individuals or systems exploiting their family's economic hardship, lack of education, or social vulnerability. The impact of involuntary servitude on children is profound. It deprives them of education opportunities, stunts their development, and leaves long-lasting emotional and physical scars. Moreover, these conditions perpetuate cycles of poverty and marginalization, limiting the child's ability to escape their circumstances in adulthood. Efforts to address involuntary servitude involving children include international conventions, national laws, and grassroots movements. Organizations such as UNICEF and the International Labor Organization advocate for stronger protections, while education and community awareness programs aim to prevent exploitation. Kent v. United States and its impact on the juvenile justice system. Kent v. United States, 1966, is a landmark Supreme Court case that reshaped the juvenile justice system in the United States by emphasizing the importance of due process for minors. The case arose when 16-year-old Morris Kent was charged with several serious crimes, including robbery and rape. His case was transferred to an adult court without a hearing or an explanation, a practice permitted under the juvenile justice system at the time. Kent's lawyers challenged this decision, arguing that the process violated his constitutional rights. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of Kent, asserting that juveniles have the right to a formal hearing before their case is transferred to an adult court. The court emphasized that a statement of reasons must accompany such decisions and that juveniles are entitled to legal representation during these proceedings. The decision in Kent v. United States marked a significant shift by requiring juvenile courts to consider the constitutional rights of minors, particularly in cases where the stakes are high. This case is significant in the juvenile justice system because it established that minors are entitled to essential procedural safeguards. It underscored that while juvenile courts aim to rehabilitate rather than punish, they must still adhere to due process. The Kent decision paved the way for further reforms, including subsequent rulings that expanded the rights of juveniles. It remains foundational in understanding the balance between rehabilitation and justice in handling juvenile offenders. The crimes of Mitchell Johnson and Andrew Golden. Mitchell Johnson and Andrew Golden were two young boys who carried out one of the most shocking school shootings in American history. On March 24, 1998, in Jonesboro, Arkansas, Johnson, aged 13, and Golden, aged 11, opened fire on their classmates and teachers at Westside Middle School. The pair had pulled a fire alarm to lure people outside, where they had set up an ambush using high-powered rifles and handguns. Their premeditated attack resulted in the tragic deaths of 4 students and 1 teacher, with 10 others wounded. The case stunned the nation not only because of the deadly nature of the crime, but also due to the ages of the perpetrators. Johnson and Golden had stolen firearms from Golden's grandfather and meticulously planned their attack. The motive behind their actions remains unclear, though it has been speculated that Johnson harbored resentment toward a girl who had rejected him. At the same time, Golden was described as having an affinity for firearms. The punishment for their actions was limited by their ages and the laws of the time. Johnson and Golden were tried as juveniles and sentenced to confinement until they turned 21, the maximum penalty allowed under Arkansas law. Johnson was released in 2005, and Golden, under his new legal name, was released in 2007. Their release reignited debates about juvenile justice and whether the legal system appropriately addresses crimes committed by minors. Both individuals have primarily lived out of the public eye since their release. The production of child pornography directly subjects minors to sexual abuse and coercion, causing profound trauma. Children involved often experience fear, shame, and confusion, leading to long-term mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. The abuse erodes their sense of safety and trust, disrupting their ability to form healthy relationships and achieve personal growth. Even when direct abuse ceases, the harm continues as explicit images and videos are circulated indefinitely, often resurfacing years later. This ongoing exposure can compound feelings of helplessness and victimization. Children who know that their pictures are still being viewed and traded may struggle with chronic anxiety, low self-esteem, and social withdrawal. Efforts to combat child pornography must involve robust law enforcement, education, and preventative measures. Additionally, providing comprehensive support to survivors, including counseling and rehabilitation, is critical to helping them reclaim their lives. Society must prioritize protecting children from such exploitation, recognizing that their safety and well-being are foundational to a just and compassionate world. Child pornography is not merely a crime, but a profound betrayal of our collective responsibility to nurture and protect the youngest members of society.